All right. So, Anthony, I somehow named this thing Road to the Show, Long Island Road to the Show. That's what I called it. Long
I
Island
love
Road
it.
to the Show.
I love
Um,
it.
and I want to, thank you for taking, a few minutes with me and being able to talk to the boys as we told them in winter workouts. And I would just want to start off by saying, or asking you if you could just bring us up to date where you are, right? So you're now in Seattle playing ball, but give me the gist of growing up where you came from. Who was your favorite team, and how did we get here today?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Mike, as always, pleasure speaking to you. Thanks for having me on. I miss the boys every day. I know they're working hard. You tell me that they're playing good baseball, so that's what I love to hear. Not making errors, swinging at good pitches, getting on base, scoring runs, winning ball games. That's what it's all about. So I'm glad I can maintain this relationship as well, just because I love baseball as much as you do. Like we've devoted a large portion of our life to it, pretty much my whole life to this game. So anything I can do to continue to build that relationship through baseball, I'm more than happy to. So yeah, I'll give you my rundown. So I started out growing up in Massapequa, playing on the same fields you guys did, Burns Front, Burns Majors, Ames, Lockhart, all those, those backfields where, we learned to love the game and um, went to St. Anthony's High School, did well there. Didn't really get a ton of offers at a high school. Ended up going the Division III route. Played there for 2 years, had less than 20 at bats, but it really taught me how to be a good teammate. And I feel like in baseball, it's very, very slept on, like being a good teammate. Ultimately, it's a team game as much as you want to look at the box score at the end of the game and see, oh, 2 for 4, 3 for 5. When you had a good game, you want to see that W at the end of the day because that's how you win championships. It's how you build a brotherhood and build a good organization. So for me,
Right.
when I saw that, it's important. It really is. But for
Yeah.
me at Cortland, it helped me learn how to be a good teammate, picking up guys at the end of the inning, making sure if there was 2 outs and there was an outfielder, I had his glove and his hat and a baseball ready for him to go out there and throw. So I saved him some time and making sure you're rooting on your teammates is actually a huge portion of that. Like energy in the dugout creates a good atmosphere, and you want to play for a good atmosphere. So I really, when I was there, as much as I wasn't playing, I learned how to be a good baseball player off the field, and that's important. From there, obviously, you want to play. So I transferred, went home, went to Stony Brook. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to play. The coach said I wasn't good enough there for 1 year, moved closer to home. I wanted to be closer to my family. That was right in the middle of like prime COVID as it started to take off. And I did everything I possibly could. Emailed him, called him, actually went there in person, sat down, man to man, looked him in the eyes, and he said, basically, you're not good enough to play here. And I said, listen, all I want is an opportunity. Just give me a chance to prove to you that I can play here. And he wouldn't even give me that. So I was there as a student, and I ended up not wanting to give up. I said, listen, I've devoted a lot of my life to this game. I genuinely love it. I want to continue to play. I know I'm talented enough. I just need an opportunity, like somebody to take a chance on me. I joined a summer league on Long Island, the Blue Chip Prospect League, collegiate, obviously. And I emailed 75 plus schools. And out of those
Wow.
75 plus schools, I'd say maybe three of them got back to me. Most of them said no. I think Yale was one of them. They basically said we can't take transfers. They were even nice enough to just give me a response, even though they didn't want to offer me. Ivy
What do
leagues
you
don't
say?
take
What do you say? What do you say in that email that you send out 75 times? And what do you say to these
uh,
coaches?
I'm like, listen, like this is who I am. I haven't got an opportunity to this point. Like I'll be one hell of a teammate. I'll be the first guy in the locker room, the last guy to leave. Like I will work my tail off to prove to you that I'm a good baseball player, a good teammate, and a good man at the end of the day. And trying to condense that into one email and send it all
Yeah,
over the place. Um, I still have the script that I wrote, and
that's awesome.
I was looking back at it the other day, and it made me smile because it's like that's still who I am today. Like I'm
You
still that
you
kid who
you have to
is
posterize
still
that.
on. From that, I ended up receiving a preferred walk-on spot at Quinnipiac University, where I played 2 years. I was an All-American my senior year.
Hmm.
And I went to the University of North Carolina, got to go to the College World Series and play in Omaha, and I was ultimately selected as the 303rd overall pick in this past draft. by the Seattle Mariners, and I'm grateful for it. And most recently, my first little once I got drafted, immediately like an Amazon package overnight shipped to California, where I got to play pro ball, and it was definitely a different style of play, definitely a unique game, but baseball is still the same, you know. It was cool. Then I got my first spring training stint, which was actually unbelievable. Looking up at the scoreboard, seeing my name in the four hole, and Julio Rodriguez hitting before me, and like Polanco and all these guys, Cal Raleigh, like all the big name major leaguers. And I looked up at the scoreboard, and it was just every one of them. And batting four stick, it was Anthony Donofrio, and I was like, I can do this. I can play with these boys, and it was cool. And
That's
then
awesome.
I played in a few spring training games. Played against the White Sox, the Brewers, the not the Dodgers, but the majority of spring training in this side of the country. So in Arizona, 15 teams. I probably played against half of them, which is really a unique experience just to get acclimated with that style of play, that caliber of player. And it was
Sure.
cool for me because it's the game I've known as a child, just a little bit at the highest level you could have played baseball at. And I had a double bases juiced against the White Sox against the big league arm, which was really cool. Because then you have the confidence. Then you can do it, and once you do it once, you can do it again. You continue, and I do believe I'm gonna have a long career in this game. I want it. I'm committed to it. And then I had a good spring training to where the Mariners decided, you know what, Anthony, hell of a job. We're gonna promote you to high A. So that's where I am right now. And I'm on an off day today, and tomorrow we have our first home opener. So I'm excited to get after it. But that's
So I feel like you skipped one of the largest accolades of your career. What did you do last summer?
yes, Omaha. Well, I was playing at the
Oh, it
University of
was
North Carolina,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
then we had
Omaha.
the opportunity to go to Omaha, which was unreal. We got to play in the College World Series in front of 45,000 plus fans and
Sick.
Tar Heel faithful that came out there, and that as an experience as a whole, like the one thing you show up to practice every day hoping for. Obviously, it's to win your conference tournament, and obviously, it's to get a lot of wins to get to the playoffs. But ideally, as a college baseball player, what you're really looking forward to is getting to College World Series. And there's 330 something. Don't quote me on that. There's over 300 Division One baseball teams battling, and you know how unpredictable baseball is, battling to get to that. And ultimately, 8 are only selected based on a rigorous regional and super regional tournament style play. And we were able to beat LSU, um, beat West Virginia, and get to the College World Series. And when you get there, it's a surreal experience as a baseball player.
I bet. What would you say, your time in North Carolina and winning the College World Series, what would you say is your fondest moment of that entire journey?
I mean, to put it like this, for me, like I absolutely loved playing in Carolina, and I loved the energy in that building at Boshemer Stadium. And the way we got there and the manner that it was done, you love a good walk off. Everyone loves a good walk off. You love a late inning comeback, scrap together a few knocks, move a few runners over, score, execute a sack bunt, and win a ball game. Like that's what I love. Like the epitome of baseball, getting the job done and winning the game. And that's what we did. Like we were back against the wall in game one. We were down by 3 runs going into the ninth inning, and we hit a walk off grand slam to get to the next game. And then that next game, there was a 11th inning comeback against LSU where we had our back against the wall and a single up the middle put us ahead. And just out of the countless games that we played, it was just in a matter of 7 games leading up, I think we had 4 walk-offs to
Wow.
get to the College World Series. And if you've been in Boshemer Stadium is right on top of you, and that's 6,500 of the most die-hard Carolina fans screaming at you in that atmosphere. It's unbelievable.
So you and I have spoken, before about some of your accolades, but I think one of the maybe one of the largest ones, personal accolade would be your home run down there that might have broken a record. So uh, tell me a little bit about that home run and what was the feeling there? How did you realize how hard you hit that ball?
Um, I know which one you're referencing. It was actually against Virginia, and I hit the ball 491 feet, which would have been the third longest home run in the major leagues last year, second to Giancarlo Stanton and Shohei Ohtani. And it was tied for the second furthest homer. And Jack Caglione hit the furthest and tied me with the second. So he had the furthest and the second, but I had the third at 491 feet. But
491 feet. How did that feel?
it right off the bat, I just said what I what I teach the guys in the off season, right? Like just stay on time for a fastball, don't be late on it, and try and hit a line drive right back at the pitcher. And that's what I did. And he gave me a 92-mile-an-hour fastball in the inner half, and I got all of it. And I didn't know I really hit it that far because it was a pretty windy day in Virginia, and it ended up on the track field. And hopefully, I'll be able to get another homer as far as that in my career. But that's that's
I
pretty
hope
dang
so.
far.
That,
So
that's that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I remember having this conversation with you, and I remember watching. There was I guess, a video of that home run, obviously that is on the internet around, and you can't understand how far that goes from that video.
no, it
You
cleared.
know, yeah, it's crushed, but you don't really realize how far that ball went.
No, it cleared the scoreboard. One of my buddies, this kid K2, football player and baseball player at Carolina, he came up to me because he was warming me up in right field. He was like, you know how far you hit that, right?" I was like, "No." He's like, "That thing went 491 feet. Like, we got TrackMan, so it's the
Yeah.
data that's provided to us in the dugout." And he basically came up to me. He's like, "You hit that 491 feet." I was like, "No, I didn't. No." But I mean, I got all that baseball, so it was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So, thinking back, I just want to go back to, maybe the younger years before, it all, finally started clicking for you. I go back, obviously we're from the same area, and I'm always very critical on raising young talent at different ages, and kids that come into their own, at different times, whether it's some at 8 or 9 years old and some at 12 or 13 years old. What were some of the things that you felt that really drove you to continue pushing and to find the passion and to find, your edge in order to get out from that, um, any other kid to being the kid?
I mean, that's a great question. You get caught in all this baseball and all these politics, and at the end of the day, you got to focus, put your head down, and work. And that's what I did. Like I know I've reiterated it a few times, but I genuinely love this game. I have such a passion for it that makes me want to get up every day and do what I love to do. So I had that luckily as a kid as well, where I would hit as often as I could. And even if I wasn't able to get to the field, because you know how it is in New York, it's cold, it's rainy, it's bad conditions where you can't get out. Maybe it's too cold. You don't want to get up that day. You just gotta almost tell yourself like, all right, okay, maybe I can't go outside today. What can I do today to get better? And that would be the epitome of my career. Like I would throw a tennis ball off of a wall and just work my eye hand coordination. Or I would just like take dry reps and visualize myself getting a hit. And a lot of that helped me to when I did get on a field, one, enjoy it even more, but two, just be prepared. And I say all the time, like you can have a ton of talent, you can have a great work ethic, but at the end of the day, like you have to be passionate for what you do. Like if you have a passion, everything's going to come easy. You're going to want to get up on those hard days where it's cold, it's rainy, you don't want to get up, and you're going to go out there and perform to the best of your ability, given what you've got, because you want to be there. And I feel like that's a huge thing.
That's a great answer. Who is your um, who was the biggest inspiration in your life growing up?
A lot of people like to say generally that the greatest inspiration to them was somebody that like maybe didn't believe in them because then they were able to overcome that and believe in themselves and then work for it from there. But for me, I feel like the biggest inspiration to me was like the support system I've had surrounding me. Like I'm grateful. I've had unbelievable. Like I have four brothers and sisters I love to death. My dad's always been there for me. He supported me through my whole career, and I'm just grateful to have such a support system with my cousins, my relatives, like my aunt and uncle, who, if I had a bad game, would just tell me to, okay, don't worry about it. You got the next day. And I was talking to my uncle this morning about, my bats the other day, what I was looking at, what I wasn't seeing, and just being able to have this great family support system surrounding me where, okay, like maybe you didn't have the best of days, like tomorrow's going to be better. Like, and then just telling you like, okay, like maybe this wasn't that great. Weren't swinging at great pitches. Maybe you made an error or two. It doesn't matter. Next day, like flush it, go back to the drawing board, and just focus on process. Don't focus on outcomes. So.
Awesome. So let's fast forward a little bit, right? And you know, obviously some of the boys that you got the chance to work with the workouts this year, and they ask how you're doing all the time. They follow you. I've never seen so many 9, 11, and 12-year-olds have registered memberships to Bally.com because apparently that's the network that covers your games, which is kind of funny, Bally Sports. Um, Talk to me a little bit about leaving for spring training. We last saw you in February. You left for spring training. What was that like? Right? What happens? You fly across the country, you show up, and then what? What happens?
That it's definitely a surreal experience. Like everybody wants to go to spring training, and to just get there day one, like from the get go, like you're expected to be ready to play as you should. Like all off season, you're working, and to get there, to get acclimated with the new faces that you haven't been accustomed to, new coaches, new players from other organizations who got released and then picked up. It's cool to just not necessarily restart, but the beautiful thing about baseball is every season on opening day, what's your batting average, right? 0-0. Like you gotta next year doesn't matter, last year doesn't matter, this year is the only thing that matters. Like one of my favorite sayings in baseball is nobody cares about your last swing, they care about your next swing, right?
Yeah.
So it's over the course of the season, not 1, 2 individual days. So getting to spring training and being in that atmosphere where you've got every organization a level from low A to high A to double A to triple A to even the big leagues, just to being able to see how professionals go about their business. Um, and then me learning from those experiences where guys like Julio, how they treat other people, how they go about their business, how they do their pre-pitch properly, like all these little things that you pick up just by, maybe just watching them, not even going up to them and speaking to them, but uh, you definitely learn a lot about the game, and that's the beautiful thing about this, right? Like I every single day learn something new that I didn't know the day before, and I've been playing this game for 10 plus years, my whole life. This is my everyday. And it's amazing how much you don't know about the game that you've played your whole life. I forget who's quoted that, but it's a famous baseball quote. So
That's that's a good call out. Um, it's interesting that you break it down like that, right? Because you would think that with all of this, time that you spent in the game, it's kind of like, walking in the door. It's everybody is, back at zero. But the truth is that you're all vying for the next position, right? You're all vying for the next promotion up to the next club. So how is the competition, walking in as the new guy? How does that look?
they try to make it as competitive as possible, right? Like you're going to get your top prospects and your signs and then your draft guys who are in the mix. But realistically, what we're all here to do is, well, by ultimately getting your foot in the door, what you've earned is an opportunity. So all the guys in pro ball, doesn't matter how much you got paid, doesn't matter if you were a free agent sign, like everyone is in the same boat in the sense that we are all on the same team with an opportunity. And like everyone in their own way has to capitalize on their opportunity. So maybe it's 1 or 2 days a week, maybe it's every single day you're playing. They're not going to just gyp you. They want you to get better. The Seattle Mariners organization believes that everyone here does have a chance to get to the big leagues. It's just a matter of with their opportunities, do they capitalize on them? So that's where I'm at.
So getting promoted single A to high A, was that an expectation from you this quickly?
Um, Obviously, like everything, you have goals. I'm a huge advocate of goal setting, right? Like you gotta, wake up every day with a plan in mind and ways to accomplish that plan. So for me, I by the end of the year want to be in double A. So I'm grateful that they gave me the opportunity to be in a high A. But obviously, like with anything, you want to move up, you want to get better, you want to become a better baseball player, a better person. So um, low A was cool. I'm glad I got out of there. High is a lot better. I'm not going to get comfortable. I'm going to try and work as hard as I possibly can to get to the next level and to where I want to be, ultimately the big leagues. So it's it's awesome every day. You never know. Like I could bat 500 over the next 2 months and not move up, and I could bat a buck 25 and they could play you up. It's a lot of what people judge you as a hitter is by your average, by these things. But ultimately, each individual organization has their own way of evaluating players based on their like a plethora of things: contact rate, swing decisions, swing expected batting average. Um, you see the league wide across all of baseball, batting averages dip a crazy amount. So now, how do you evaluate a player? Like their on base percentage, their on hard hit percentage, how good they are defensively. You get into a lot of different statistical categories like WRC plus, um, and then things like WAR, like to ultimately gauge the expectancy of how many wins a player is worth in a season. And all these things are factored into our player plans and what we do in the Mariners organization. So it's not just one, okay, he's hit 330. All right, we're moving him up. It's how you are going to excel as an individual as your own in your own shoes, right?
Some of the questions that the kids are asking me, right? Some
I'm
of
fired
these,
up. I'm fired
yeah,
up.
some of them really pertain, and we'll get through it real quick. But one of them is, what are you doing differently now with your meal prep or with your eating habits or with your, what you're not when you're not at baseball? What's different now than, maybe even at single A or at the college level? What is really changed now that you're advancing?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. You try to get into a routine as quickly as possible. So you wake up at the same time. It's kind of boring, but you eat a lot of the same foods. I have the same 5 eggs and 3 things of toast, and I have my Cholula sauce every morning. So it's eating a lot of the same things, waking up at very, very similar times, sticking with the routine on the field. I have a completely tailored toward me throwing program that I do, a fielding program that I do. I have the same cage routine every single day. And what this helps you do, just staying routine oriented, is every single day you can feel a little bit different or you can feel a little bit better about what you're doing, hopefully to improve in the long run. So what I mean by that is maybe I'm trying to go hard liners up the middle, and maybe I'm rolling over too much. So me as a player, I understand that if I'm trying to go up the middle and I'm rolling over, maybe I have to set my sights differently. So maybe I have to go a little bit further backside, and I can make a quick adjustment with my swing. Kind of do the same thing every day. Like I said, like I wake up at a very similar time. I make breakfast at a similar time. I'm at the field 6 hours before game time, working on my
Wow.
prep, getting my body ready for what I need as an individual. I have bad hamstrings, bad shoulders, so obviously handling that with care when I'm exercising in the morning. Then I have a nice lunch. Not entirely sure what that entails. Sometimes it's chicken with rice or it's steak with rice, whatever option they provide to us on the day. Uh, then from there, it's straight to the field. Obviously, like I said, in the cage, but obviously fielding wise, like I have a very um, similar routine in terms of the exact throws and distance that I'm making. And it doesn't have to be as an individual player. If you guys are listening to this and you want to, try this out for yourself, it doesn't have to be all the same every day, but you have to find something that works for you. So I used to be a very big long toss guy, but for me, the longest throw I'm going to make in this game is probably 120 feet. So I should stretch it out to 120 feet, rip pull downs from there, do my normal average every day outfield prep coming through the baseball, creating a spin where I can come through a gapper down the line where I can cut that ball off, make a good strong throw. Ultimately, as easy as it sounds, it's making a good strong throw, hitting your cutoff in the outfield, but it's all relative. So whatever works for each individual player. But I've, at this point in my career, figured out a routine that works for me, and I feel like that's really important as a younger player to just have a routine, know what works for you, and stick to it.
So to part of that, to follow that up, Presley from the 11U team, he wants to know how many swings do you take in a single day?
In a single day? That's a great question. If I had to do the quick math in my head, I'll put it like this. I'm there before the game, 6 hours before the game starts. In those 6 hours, I am doing T work, then I'm doing my cage swings, then I'm doing live arm in the cage, and then I'm doing a machine in the cage. So it's either a breaking ball that I'm seeing or a fastball that I'm seeing. And then we get out on the field and do batting practice, which is 4 rounds. So I'd have to say probably 200 swings a day.
Wow.
Some of them have a little bit more intent than others. Obviously, as you're starting to get loose, you're not fully exerting as much energy. You're just trying to feel your swing on that day. So I'd say about 200 of those swings, 100 of those swings are with full intent, full energy. More of those being in batting practice on the field.
How many times do you practice bunting in a day?
That's a great question. For me, I'm a speed guy, so if I can get on base via the bunt, it's huge. However, in the Mariners organization, we don't bunt that much, maybe like 3 times in a full season. When it comes down to it, you just have to get the job done. Like if you can get the bunt down, nobody will be mad at you as long as you just get it down. So
So
I'd probably
Anthony,
say a given week, in a given week, probably about, I don't want to, I don't want to say a number and then you guys don't go bunt because bunting is very important. But I will say I'd categorize bunt as a situational hitting. So for situational hitting, I devote 2 full rounds of my batting practice to situational hitting. Man on third, less than 2 outs. Man on first, get the guy over, hit and run, right? And then man on second, sacrifice bunt, get him to third, get an easy score. So stuff like that. Like I'm changing my swing in a way where it's situationally, um, it matters. So
all right. So Anthony, here we are, right? So you are one game in to two games, one game, right?
three
Two
games.
games. Okay. So next game is tomorrow night, I believe.
All right. Yep.
Okay. So you step into the box. First at bat, you look down the line, and your third base coach tells you, tells you to sign the bunt. Are we bunting? Are we bunting, Anthony? Tell me.
I'm 100% bunting.
I
If
love
your
it.
coach gives you a sign, he believes that he knows the situation well enough to have the confidence to give you the bunt sign. And if you get the bunt sign, you are always supposed to get the bunt down, no matter what the situation, no matter what the circumstances. And this goes back to me talking earlier about how to be a great teammate. This is a unselfish swing. This is a team swing to where this could mean the outcome of the game. Not always are games won on home runs or doubles or singles. A lot of the time they're won on small balls in close games. So if there's a 2-2 ball game in pro baseball and there's a runner on second and I hit a lazy fly ball, or if I bunt the guy over and he hits a lazy fly ball, we win the game, I get a high five, everyone's going crazy. So ultimately, if your coach tells you to bunt, you got to get that thing on the ground.
That's a great attitude. I love it. And I hope the boys pay attention to that because I can't tell you how many times I've seen the bunt sign turned into a swinging away on 3-0 somehow. So that's great stuff. So
Good stuff.
I'm reading one of these other questions from Tyler on our 11U team as well. He asked what number in the order, in the lineup do you bat? But I'm going to change the question a little bit because obviously you're still new. What is your favorite position in the lineup to bat, and where do you feel the most comfortable? And obviously every team is different. We understand, hitting before or after and being in certain positions to see good pitches. But where do you feel most comfortable in the lineup? And what is your take on where you want to bat?
I feel like more importantly, like you said it best, like where are you in the lineup? It matters obviously if you're in the lineup because then you have the opportunity to hit. I don't think it necessarily matters exactly where you are, but if I had to pick a personal preference, in college at Carolina, I hit fourth, and then at Quinnipiac, I hit second, and in pro ball right now, I'm hitting anywhere from last game seventh to my first game being ninth. So it doesn't matter necessarily where you are. Obviously, the guys at the beginning of the lineup are going to get more at bats. Guys at the back of the lineup aren't going to get as many at bats, but that doesn't mean it's any less important to where you are in the lineup. Every single position in the lineup adds value to the team. Ultimately, it's 9-on-1. You're nine hitters against one pitcher. So for me, if I had to choose, I think based on my skill set, I like to steal bases. I don't like really people running in front of me. Um, and I like having guys in scoring position to where I can score them on a double or a single, like guys who get the second base easy. So for me, based on that criteria, I would have to tell you that batting second is my favorite because you have the most window for fastballs. You're going to have some guys on base sometimes, but a lot of the time you're just going to have your own space to get on, steal base, hit a double, steal base, score a run for the team.
I love it. I love it. And it seems like more power hitters today are also going to the top of the lineup. And I don't know if that is something that really started with Judge, getting moved up there, or now I see obviously Soto is up there on the Mets, and I don't know if it's just the sign of the times being different, right, from the traditional power hitter going into the cleanup hole all the time, or hitting three or even five for that matter. So it's interesting, and I love that take, right? Because it gets you obviously more at bats, but it's a far more important role as well in the line.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Good stuff. Uh, so here is one question for this is from Coach Tony, who is one of the assistants on the 11U team. I think you remember
Yeah.
Tony. So Tony asked, for the players that don't speak English, do they have classes to speak them to learn how to speak English, and vice versa? Do for a lot of the Spanish speaking coaches, do they teach the English speaking players how to speak Spanish as well?
Yes, they actually do. So a lot of my teammates are almost semi-fluent in English, and a lot of the Spanish that's spoken on the field, I can speak a little bit of Spanish too, just from trying to learn from talking to my teammates. I feel like the most important aspect of baseball or being on a team, doesn't matter if you're in the workplace or on a field, the most important aspect of a team is communication. Like how can I effectively communicate with my teammates? So a lot of the Latin players coming from overseas to the United States or at the facility where they train in the off season, they have the opportunity to take English courses, and a lot of them at this level they have already got their GED, so they have their high school diploma. Um, so they get the opportunity to play baseball, but also get an education, which is extremely important.
Awesome. That's great. Um, Here's a funny one for you. Um, some of the boys on the 12U side would like to know what your initiation was joining the Aqua Sox.
The initiation, I feel like every single team has a new initiation. In pro ball, um, it's a lot of like, okay, you're a new guy to the organization. You got to pick up all the stuff after the game. You got to carry the balls. Guys who are returners who have been there for a while, they don't have to do that stuff. You don't have to click, or you don't have to pick up all these heavy bags and transport them on the road. A lot of new guys are assigned to certain roles where they have to carry a bunch of stuff on the road and make sure it's in the clubhouse when we get to wherever we're playing. But that's a funny question. Um, there's some hazing I probably can't necessarily explain. However,
Fair
for the
enough.
most part, it's a lot of on the field stuff where you just have to carry a bunch of random bats or baseballs or gear, whatever it may be.
I'm glad you didn't want to tell us all the hazing, Anthony. That's good stuff. um, hold on. Coach Alejandro says, always make sure you lock your doors in your room and wear on the
Double
bus.
socks.
Double socks on the bus.
I like it. I mean, I'll write that down.
I have just two more questions, and again, Anthony, I super appreciate your time. I love the fact that we're able to do this, and that you've been, so accommodating with your time and talking to the boys. And so, two more questions. Going back to training, and something that the nine, the 11s, the 12s, or any other team that we're ever able to put on the field, what is some of the best advice training wise that these boys can hunker down and stay focused on working, to really get maximum benefit, as they're going from that, they're an athlete but really want to becoming a baseball player.
Mhm. I mean, that's an unbelievable question. I'm going to try and answer it from a professional level first, and then I can kind of give you the how I would approach it as a little leaguer. But for where I'm at right now, the way I learn the most is through my teammates. If you ever see somebody who's taking ground balls and they look really good at taking ground balls, talk to him. Find out how he's done what he's done. Obviously, he's really good at it. It might just be natural talent, but a lot of it is his consistency, his work ethic, how he's been able to do. Apologize.
No, you're good. You're
Well,
good.
what I was saying was the best way for me from a professional level, if I had to explain it right now, and then I'll go at it from a little league aspect or just growing up playing the game aspect, is communicating with your teammates. I know it sounds a little ridiculous, but when you see somebody who's really good at what they do, you're trying to learn from them and how you can get better. So for me, a lot of guys at this level are talented. How do you separate yourself from somebody else? For me, I like to look at a guy who I don't even play in field, but I'll go up to an infielder that I see who looks really good, looks very fundamental, and maybe yeah, that's a little bit of talent, but a lot of that's work ethic, that's consistency, that's something he's done his whole life, and I'll ask him, I'll just be like, hey, how are you? What are you trying to feel there? What are you trying to go? Why are you trying to do it like this, not like that? And just talking with your teammates is a very effective way to learn something that you didn't know. Same thing with your coaches. If you ask your coaches questions, they're going to give you a good answer and they're going to try and help you be the best version of yourself, best version of a baseball player. In Little League, where that scene is just, I would ask one of my buddies, or not Little League, travel baseball, growing up, starting to get into competitive baseball. And I would, as a travel ball organization, talk to my coaches, talk to the players around me. Okay, he's really good at hitting fastballs. How does he hit fastballs well? Let me go talk to him. Let me ask him what he's doing to hit fastballs well, and let me try and think like that and see if it helps me. And sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. But you never know if you don't ask. So asking your coaches, asking your teammates is a lot is a very good way to understand the game better from other people's perspectives to where you can do it yourself.
Love it. Love it. And so I have a question here from a buddy of yours and a good coach of ours, Coach Jared. And I asked the coaches, I wanted to come up with one good coach question, like a really good coach question. And so Jared gave me one, and I think it's a fantastic question. I hope that you can answer it well. But his question came in as from being overlooked by scouts in high school to getting drafted. What was the key moment in your career that put you on the map?
I've never been asked that question before, and I love it. But I'd probably say what put me on the map was this story. And I haven't told this to many people because my first weekend after not, I didn't play for 3 whole years in college. And that pretty much means you're written off, you're too old, you're not going to ever see professional baseball. That's what that means. But when I got to Quinnipiac, I had my opportunity. And in the first game, I went 0 for 3. I'll never forget. We're playing St. Joseph's Redhawks in New Jersey. And I went 0 for 3. And I was in the elevator after that game. And I'm sitting with my head coach. And believe I have not recorded a single hit in Division I baseball at this point. I just went 0 for 3 in my first game as a Division I player, my first start ever. I'm like, instead of saying, okay, I'm not good enough, I shouldn't be here, I was in the elevator with my head coach. It was just me and him. It timed up perfectly. I go, Coach, give me another opportunity to be back in the lineup tomorrow, and I promise you won't regret it. I go, I promise you, which is a crazy promise. I go, I'm going 4 for 4 tomorrow. And granted, I probably said that a little bit jokingly, but fast forward to the next morning, first at bat hit, second at bat hit, third at bat, chopper down the line. I beat it out for an infield single. Fourth at bat, at this point, I'm 3 for 3. And I'm looking over at the third baseline at my head coach, and he's like, he's showing over the four fingers. And I'm like, all right, get in the box, single up the middle for the fourth hit. And it was just cool because on first base, he was like, you weren't kidding. And I was like, I just had an opportunity. I capitalized it. I believed in myself. I wouldn't say that's what put me on the map. I would say that's what gave me the confidence to continue doing what I wanted to do. And from that, the next series, in college baseball, everyone wants to play Power Five. And Power Five baseball is very competitive. It's very hard. You get a lot of hard throwers with good off speed pitches. And I would say what put me on the map is I hit a home run. Actually, I had a really good series against North Carolina State. Ultimately, my rival, because I went to Carolina, crosstown rival. But when I was there, I hit a home run in a tough at bat. And I had the head coach, Elliot Avens, come up to me after the game. And he was like, you're a damn good player. You're the best player we've seen all year. And this was my second weekend of college baseball. And I was like, really? Like, do I have the confidence? And I said, yeah, I do. Like, I just said, thank you, sir. And I went on, I put my head down. I continued to get better. I continued to work. I wasn't satisfied from where I was at. I'm still not satisfied for where I am now. But to answer your question, I'd say what put me on the map is my first few weekends of college baseball at the Division I level.
That's a great answer. Again, I think that your story it's so, captivating because, you never had it easy, right? Nobody ever handed you anything and you kept going after it. And, teaching kids today that, nothing is going to be handed to you is very difficult because children today are spoiled in comparison. And you're still a young guy and your generation may be a little bit different, but teaching passion is not really a possible thing today, right? So passion has to be grown from within, I believe at least. And so putting people in positions to allow passion to grow is really the responsibility of a baseball organization or parents, right? Hearing what you have come through with your family and helping you and supporting you all the way, you not giving up is inspiring for all of these kids. And it was part of the reason what, really led you and I, to get together to begin with. And, super happy that, we were able to connect and get you in as the leading member of the squad over there for winter workouts, and there is obviously always a home for Coach Anthony because the kids won't shut up about it now. And now they're following you on West Coast time, watching streaming videos of you playing games. So that to me is an amazing story.
I love it. Well, I got to say, I'm drawn to people who are passionate about what they do. And I just want to say thank you for having me on because I love talking about baseball, but I love equally as much somebody who genuinely cares and is passionate and will put their money where their mouth is when it comes to something like this. And travel baseball is a tricky ground, but I feel like I love what the Scorpions organization is doing. It's truly wonderful to see the kids develop and care about the game the way they should, the right way. And that's why I'm fully a part of this. I'm fully supporter of what you do. So thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Anthony. And just I'll give you just a minute, to send a message to the boys so that when I chop this up at the end, we have that moment where we can replay Anthony's words of wisdom. What do you have to say to the boys? And obviously they miss you. They wish you extremely well. They obviously are watching you, as I've told you, because they're all registered for Bally Sports, which is incredible in itself to me. But what do you have to say to them and that I can share with them?
Boys, just know that I miss coaching you guys. I can't wait to see what great things you guys are going to do this year. I will be following along. I'm going to be supporting you as best as I can from out here. But just go play good baseball, go compete, go be a good teammate, and everything else will be all right.
Awesome. Anthony, I want to thank you again. And I cannot wait to do this again with you. Hopefully we can
Oh,
we can get it done soon.
100%, Mike. As always a pleasure.